historian, and you're watching Smith College News. Have you ever lugged your laundry all the way down from the fourth floor to the basement to find out that all the washers were taken? Well, lug no more. With the new website listed below, you can check it to see which washers are taken and which are not. And if a red light is flashing, it's occupied. So go ahead and take a nap instead. The Global Studies Center recently hosted a panel discussing the IMF and Christine Lagarde. We have some special inside footage from that panel.
So my opinion, and I think the prevailing opinion of many development economists today, is that the Washington Consensus reforms failed because they were implemented all at once. They didn't take into consideration the social elements of development, and they didn't focus on specific country contexts. Nevertheless, I and many development economists do believe that the core components of the Washington Consensus are an important part of fostering growth and development. Specifically, there's strong empirical evidence that macroeconomic stability, market orientation, and openness to trade can be an important piece of economic growth and development. Now, however, in order for this growth and development to be inclusive, participatory, just, and sustainable, these market-oriented reforms must be combined for an active role for government.
The global economy is a dynamic between rich and poor countries. It's a relationship, if you will, that has a specific history in colonialism. And due to this history, it is rooted in a political economy characterized by severely unequal distribution of wealth and gains from globalization. The IMF, through its loans and conditions attached to the loans, play a critical role in shaping the economic and therefore the political relationship shared between rich and poor countries. So I'd like to draw our attention to 4 points. One, by the end of the 1980s, the SFPs had directly affected more than 1.4 billion people worldwide. Among them, women have had to bear a disproportionate share of the negative consequences. Next, developing countries have been the primary targets of free market policies. The conditions imposed on loans to rich countries tend to be less stringent than required of third world countries, plus the imposition of the SFPs on the first world countries has been selective. The third point I would like for us to perhaps discuss later is concerns about the distribution of power in the international financial institutions like the World Bank and IMF. The US and EU have most power due to their higher contributions, and therefore they can effectively veto decisions. So third world countries have been demanding reforms in this sector, and I hope that the new chief at the IMF would be willing and open to considering these reforms.
Now, the question then is, did structural adjustment loans work? And the answer to that is basically no. But the other thing that we have to answer when we think about did they work is, were they implemented? So there are 2 different issues here. There were carbon copy policies given to a variety of different African countries with trade liberalization, with decreasing of tariffs, with privatization, a whole variety of other things. So if we think that the IMF is, in inverted commas, to blame, we have to think as well that those policies must have been implemented. Now the problem with this is that the data throughout Africa indicate that implementation was really spotty.
So one of the IMF's main mandates is to preserve the stability of the international financial and monetary system. And sometimes we refer to that system in a way as being similar to plumbing. When it works well, nobody pays much attention. However, when it is not working well, we all pay attention. And so that's why I think a lot of what we talk about in terms of the IMF is when they come in a crisis situation, when that pipe has burst and everything is going to hell and that we need to resolve the crisis. But 2 of the things that they do in the world are more about maintenance of the plumbing system, about keeping things working, and surveillance is one of the ways that they can do that. The other thing that they can do as an international organization is they can do multilateral surveillance.
What did you think? Tweet us your thoughts at SmithCTV88 using the hashtag SmithReacts. The International Students Organization hosted its annual Rhythm Nation celebration on March 1st. Various countries from around the world were represented. They were singing, dancing, and a march of the flags. Spring is here, which means that the Botanic Gardens is hosting its annual bulb show. The display is super beautiful, so I encourage you to go and check it out. And after spring break, they'll be selling the bulbs, so if you're interested in brightening up your room, that's the place to be. Guess what? The Smith College Pioneers basketball team won its first ever NEWMAC title. We are now reigning championships. We defeated Babson with a 64-58 win. We also hosted the semifinal championships here at Smith and Ainsworth Gym. If you're interested in playing intramural basketball, go ahead and speak to your house's athletic rep to get all the information. This is the perfect way to get ready for March Madness, Smith style. This has been Smith College News. Thanks so much for watching. 3, 2, 1. Sming